What is up, my dudes? Today we're going to continue on with learning a little bit about computer science. So today we're going to deal with lists. You guys should remember lists from Snap, where we had a bunch of items. I think at some point we had names of kids. We also have we could have something like a grocery list, like I need to pick up some bananas. I need to pick up some apples. Might need to pick up an onion. And so lists are pretty useful when you're dealing with a lot of information. So, in here if we wanted to represent this in a list, in Python to create just an empty list, we just have to create let's call it my list, and to create it, all we need is the square brackets. So right now this is my list is now an empty list, and I can show you what's in it by printing out my list, and so I can run that and it gives me an empty list, so nothing shows up. If I wanted, and now I can go ahead and add some stuff to my list. So let's go ahead and add these bananas. Let's go ahead and add some apples, and let's add an onion. So, as you guys can see here, we got to add some things to a list. We just have a piece of data. So for here we have, we have our string bananas, our string of apples, and a string for onion. I go ahead and print that out, and I have my little list here. So I can include anything in a list. Let's say, let's change this from my list to be groceries. And I can put anything that I want in a list. So let's have a different list. Let's use my list again here. And I can have numbers. I can have, the number 1. I can have a float, 3.14. I can have a string, float. I can have a boolean. I can really have anything I want. I can even have other lists. Let me show you what I got. So if I go ahead and print my list here, we're going to see groceries, but then we'll also see this other list. So let me run that. So it's a little bit harder to see here, but yeah, we have what we wrote down. We have 1, we have 3.14, we have hello, we have true, we got everything. We even have another list. So you can really put anything that you want in a list. Python doesn't particularly care if, not all these things have to be integers, not all of them have to be floats. Everything is just an individual item. So if we want to get things from a list, so we can always just print out my list. We can also, let's get rid of this example here. So if I want to get the first item in my list, if I want to access something, then what I would do is I would say groceries. I would take my list, and I need to use the square brackets again to say I want to access the item. These square brackets are I want to access the item in the list, and then inside I put the number that I want to. Now, I think if we remember in Snap, it might have been that the first item is number 1, the second item is number 2, the third item is number 3. In Python, it's a little different. Python likes to start counting from 0. So if I want to get the first item in the list, I actually have to get item 0. This is called zero-based indexing. So if I go ahead and I paste that in here, if I go ahead and if I take the list groceries and get the item, that's what the square brackets are for, and the item at position 0, we should end up getting bananas. And there we go. That's how we get bananas. If I want to get the last item, I can put in 2 and try and run this. But I might not know, I might have added some things to my list later, I actually have a way of getting the length of groceries. So if I use this method len and then pass in groceries, let's see what happens when I do that. So if I pass in the length of my groceries, I'll get 3. So if you could kind of think, okay, if I can get the length of the groceries, I'm always going to get the number, this last number plus 1, then maybe one little trick I can do is if I want to get, this is going to give me a number, you know, so one little trick is if I want to get the last item, I can take the length of the groceries and subtract 1 from it. Let's see if I can make this a little bit cleaner. So if I have the length of the groceries and subtract 1, so this is this right here, this length part is going to resolve to 3 minus 1, which will give me 2. So this will give me groceries. Let's make this nice and neat here. So this will give me groceries of 2, which is the last number. So let me get rid of this, and I'll try to run that, and I'll get onion, which is the last item. So next thing is what happens if I don't include the negative 1? What happens if I give it 3? You know, what's groceries of oh my goodness. Groceries of 3. What's that? So let's go ahead and let's try it out. Let's give it a go. So we'll run it, and we get, whoa, we got an error. We got list index out of range. So what you'll end up seeing this error if you try to go outside of the bounds of the list. So this list item only had items that were available at 0, 1, or 2, and we gave it 3. And the list doesn't have any idea what you're talking about, so it gives you an out of range exception. So this should give you enough to go through the lab, and good luck. I'll see you in the next video.